In previous class we have seen what are the different types of first law and some more examples we have seen that. Then application of first law we have seen steady flow energy equation SFEE. So we have some more further application that where we can use this SFEE. Okay, so first we will start with one problem, and will some problems we will see in small topics, and then we will move to the fresh topic, that is second law of thermodynamics. Today we will see and the problem based on second law of thermodynamics. But before that we will solve this problem. Which one of the following is the correct sequence of the three processes A, B and C in the increasing order of the amount of work done by a gas following ideal gas expansion by this process? So first of all they have given this cycle A, B and C. Okay, A, B and C that they have given. Now in this cycle what you have to do is you have to find out the proper sequence in increasing order. So increasing order of work done. So I need to find out work done for this cycle A, B and C. Okay, and they have given some sequence of options. Now how can you find out this thing? Before I start, first you think and tell me how can I proceed with this question. So first of all, what I have said, in any graph, volume versus pressure, whatever the graph, the point we have, the area under this graph is going to be the complete work done. Getting my point? Now here in this A, it is just like a rectangular form. So this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, and this is our 4, 0 to 4. Now if I have to find the work done, so work done for A, so area of this rectangular A. Now what is the formula for rectangular?
Length into breadth.
Length into breadth. So what is the length? I have to take, okay, 4 into 1 minus 2 or 2 minus 1, right?
Yes,
I just
ma'am.
need to take this alone. So 1 into 4. So I will get 4 Newton meter. That is the area of the rectangular. Next is B. For the B process, what I have to find? I have to find out the area of this triangle. It is forming something like triangle. So if I have to find WB, what is the area of a triangle? Half into height into base. This is my going to my base, and this is, if this is a height, if I consider, now what is the height?
3.
3. And what is the base? 4, 5, 6, 7. This is a 7. So 7 minus 4. So half into 3 into 3. So 9 by 2 you get is 4.5 Newton meter. Then C. C is again a kind of rectangular form, isn't it? So we are going to find the area of the C. Then it is of length 1 into 12 minus 9, you will get 1 into 3, so 3 Newton meter. So area of A is 4 Newton meter, B is 4.5 Newton meter, C is 3 Newton meter. Now look into the answer and tell me which is the right option. They said increasing order of the amount of work done, means gradually it should be increased. Now which is the biggest one here?
CBA.
CBA, very good. So the list is C, then we have A, then we have B. So the right option is D. Next, we have a question based on SFEE, steady flow energy equation. Now in your competitive exam, they will not mention you that this question belongs to which category, a part of which portion of your question, right? So you need to read and identify accordingly. Now see this question, it's slightly different. In a steady flow adiabatic turbine, the changes in the internal energy, enthalpy, kinetic energy and potential energy of a working fluid from inlet to exit are so and so has been given. Which of the following gives the amount of work developed by turbine? So here you need to find out what is the amount of work developed. Now what are the things given? Internal energy, U. Now changes in internal energy. Now note that point. That means del U has given. Then changes in enthalpy, del H is given. Kinetic energy. So V square by 2, the change in velocity square by 2, that parameter is given. Then the potential energy. Potential energy means del Z. So you can understand and you can frame that it will be a question from, fine. So whenever there is a function of U, H, kinetic energy and potential energy, it has to be of first law of application. Now what is the formula? It is a very complex formula, isn't it? So
Yes, ma'am.
So first
H1
we'll write
plus V1 square by 2.
H1 plus V1 square by 2. Then
Plus Z1Z plus DQ by DM
plus DQ by DM equals to H2 plus V2
square by 2
plus
GZ2 dW by dm.
Now as you know, in the turbine, adiabatic turbine, they have said that means no heat, so dq is going to be 0. Okay, dq is 0, so this term is going to be 0. Now change means what? Either you keep this term the other side or this side, any way you can keep, either of the way you can keep. Okay, so let me keep in this way, that minus of dw by dm, that is del h2, sorry, del h, del h means h2 minus h1 plus dV by 2 plus del Z into G.
मैम dv स्क्वायर होगा ना?
हाँ, there will be square. Yes. Fine. Now substitute the values. What is del H? Is minus no 140. This is del H. This one is kinetic energy. That means this entire value has been given. Okay, they have not given the velocity, the entire value has been given. So minus of 10. Now potential energy means this entire value. What is the value? 0. Solve this. What is the answer? So here also we have minus, here also minus. Minus and minus will get cancelled off, and what is the right answer? Option D again. Okay. Right. Now again we are going to solve some more complicated SE problem, because this is a very important topic. So only I am making you practice as many problem. Okay. Now this is also the similar type as we have seen just now. Now let's read the question. Air is heated as it flows at a steady state through a constant area duct. So this is a constant area duct. That means the area at the inlet and the exit is going to same. I think my voice is getting echoed. I request all of you to mute. Okay, when there is a necessary, you can unmute and speak. Now the area is constant. Okay, this is a inlet and this is a exit. At the inlet, temperature is given. Here what is given? The temperature is given, that is 300 Kelvin. Then pressure at the inlet is also given, 2 bar. Now 1 bar equals to 10 power 1 into 10 power 5 Pascal. Then velocity is given, V1 is 87 meter per second. Now the next they have given at the exit. At the exit point, let's consider the 2, section 2. P2 is given as 1.45 bar and velocity is given as V2 as 360 meter per second respectively. Now ignoring this potential energy. Now as they have given this potential energy, then you have to quickly understand that this is a problem based on SFE, steady flow energy equation. Then determine the heat transfer per unit mass, that means dq by dm. This is what you have to find. So let's write down the formula again. What is the formula? H1 plus V1 square by 2 plus GZ. So let's not write this formula, because as they have included that potential energy is 0. So let me not write this. Plus dq by dm equals to H2 plus V2 square by 2 plus dW by dm. So as the air is heated in the flow of steady state, this is another key word, okay, through a constant area duct, right? So they have only asked in a constant area duct, okay, any kind of area duct, as they have said heat is added, so we are including this dq by dm. So does any work is done by the duct? No. So automatically it will be 0 because no work is done by the duct. Okay, the work is done either by or from the turbine or the compressor. So there won't be any work done here. So dw by dm going to be 0. So from here we need to find this. Now they have given the velocity. Velocity at 2 points are been given. So you can substitute on these 2 points. You will get it. Now what about H1 and H2? They have given the pressure, they have given the temperature. But temperature they have given only at 1 point. Other point they have not given it. So how you are going to find out this thing? How you are going to find out? Okay, so this is a task for you. Okay, so you are going to find out the answer and send me in the WhatsApp group. Okay, this is a task. Note down the answer. It should be around 680 to 700 kilojoule per kg. Okay, answer should ranges between 680 to 700 kilojoule per kg. So find out how you're going to use this formula over here. They have given the temperature. Okay, find out and let me know. Similar kind of question we will see. This is also for your task. I will explain you. Okay, and you have to work this problem. Now by looking into the problem, any particular person may get confused, but this is a problem completely can be done using this SFEE. Okay, now first let me read the question. The air speed of turbojet engine in flight is 270. 70 meter per second. Ambient air temperature is minus 15 degrees Celsius. Gas temperature of outlet of nozzle is, they have given the outlet temperature they have given. Corresponding enthalpy value for air and gas are respectively. Okay, so H1, let's consider H2. Enthalpy value has been given for the air and the gas. The fuel air ratio is, they have given the fuel air ratio. Let's consider small f, fuel air ratio. Chemical energy of the fuel, they have given the chemical energy as, that is calorific value or chemical energy you say. The CV value has given 44.5 megajoule. Okay, here they have given in kilojoule per kg, here we have megajoule per kg. Note the unit. Owing to incomplete combustion, around 5% of a chemical energy is not released in the reaction. So how much? The 5%. 5% of chemical energy is not released, so that it becomes an incomplete combustion. So due to that, heat losses from the engine is about 21 kilojoule per kg of air. Calculate the velocity of the exhaust jet. Okay. Now in your competitive exam you will get a practical based question, and this is a completely practical based question. So you should have the idea what is nozzle, what is combustion chamber, what is happening in the combustion chamber, how you can derive the complete heat added in the system. Okay. So first of all, let's consider a gas turbine engine in a simplified way. So they have said air, so first air will be entered, so finally it is leaving as a gas. So two cases they have given, one is air, one is a gas. So enthalpy when it's entering, they have given that at the air, and enthalpy at the gas they have given. Now what they are telling is that the gas temperature at the outlet of the nozzle. So when the exhaust gas is coming out, expelling out, so you know what is the temperature for that. 600 degrees Celsius. Okay. And the air speed, okay, when the flight speed, let's take the V value flight speed they have given how much? 270 meter per second. And ambient temperature also they have given minus 15 degrees Celsius. Okay, so TA is given as minus 15 degree Celsius. Now after that there is a combustion chamber will be there, right? So where air and fuel get mixed together, so where fuel will be having fuel ratio as 0.0190, and CV calorific value is 44.5 megajoule per kg. Owing to incomplete combustion, 5% of the chemical energy is not released. So whatever the heat is added over in this region, right, but the combustion has not done completely, it was 5% incomplete. If this is 100%, right, if this was 100%, so it could not give the complete 100%, the 5% error is there. So due to that, what is the heat lost? 21, they have given the amount, how much has been heat loss. So from there, this is the heat lost. Heat loss equals to 21 kilojoule per kg of air. Okay, of air. Now from there we need to know what is the velocity, exhaust velocity. Again, what you have to do, one side of the factor you have to take for the air, another side of the factor you have to take for the gas. Fine. So what is the formula? As they have not given any datum or any potential energy, let's ignore that part. So H1 plus B1 square by 2. As they have given here is kilojoule and here it is in meter per second. So we will have this. Okay. Plus heat added and heat lost, whatever the heat added and heat lost. Then same thing will happen over here. Okay, H2 plus V2 square by 2000, right? Anything else? Plus, as after combustion it is not complete, it is not complete, so you need to find out that error, what is the incomplete combustion has been taken place, that is 5% of dq by dm. Equate this equation, you will get. Now how to find H1 in terms of temperature? So H means it's a factor of Cp. You know it's a factor of Cp into temperature. H equals to Cp into temperature. And okay, here the temperature, here the H1 is given, so no need to find out this. So this concept may be utilized in the previous cases, previous problem. Here H1 is directly given, so no need to find out that. Okay, H1 is given, V1 is given. How to find Q? Is fuel, air fuel ratio into CV. You can find heat. So these are the clue, and the answer will range here is about 560 to 580 meter per second. Okay, the answer ranging between 560 to 580 meter per second. Okay, fine, let's find out this from calculation. Calculate and tell me the answer. Calculate this problem. About 577.45 meter per second, that is the V2. Okay, however you do, the answer should be within that particular range. Okay. Now quickly we'll move. If you are not getting, please try. This is the process. Okay, we will quickly move to the next important topic, is second law of thermodynamics. So when we talk about the second law of thermodynamics, it mostly work with or discuss about how to compare with the heat transfer, work transfer, how it is work on the different process. So it consists of three different engines. One is a heat engine, heat pump, and refrigerator. So they have some sub laws are there. Okay, Clausius law, Kelvin's law. So we will see how they have justified the heat engine, then heat pump, and refrigeration. So here they have said a statement that heat and work are not completely interchangeable in the form of energy, but work can always be converted into heat. That is a universal fact. Okay, so it is an universal fact, because when we are transforming from work to heat in form of some kind of internal energy, okay, so that can be fully transformed. Now looking into that, the heat engine first. So what this heat engine works? Now first of all, for any heat engine, it can be of different type of heat engines. We can see it can be of boiler, it can be combustion chamber, it can be gas turbine, right? So any other random places the heat can be generated. So either we consider diesel engine, petrol engine, steam turbine, or gas turbine. Now first we will take an basic example of what are the things we have in the source and sink, what are the heat added and heat left. These are the important thing to understand. Where the heat should be added, where the heat should be liberated, where which component will be doing the work, which component will not do the work. Now first here in the given sketch they have given an example of an boiler. Okay, so boiler, first we have the boiler. What it does, so it will have the source of heat where it will generate heat. Now from boiler it is been connected to turbine, because turbine only drive the force to the boiler, then followed with condenser Here we'll have the condenser. Condenser always have a work to liberate the heat. Already we have seen, which drives by the pump, and pump through it is connected by the boiler. So I'm just writing the keywords. Okay, boiler, then turbine, then condenser, then pump. So this is how the cycle goes on. Now boiler is a point where the heat is added. Now mostly where the heat is added we consider as Q1. Okay, you see the direction. Heat is entering into the boiler. Now after this process is done, now which component liberates the heat? The condenser. It will liberate the heat. Let's consider the heat Q2. Now how this process are being worked? Now there is a component called turbine. Now you know the process of turbine, it always work is done by the turbine. So only we use it is an positive WT, and which is compressed as a pump. The work is compressed, so we call as WP. Okay, this is done on the system, and this is done by the system, and this is done on the system. Okay, now this process is clear. Now where we have the source, we call this is as a source, where we have the high thermal reservoir, where which one is the highest temperature we call as a source, and which part is get liberated we call as sink. Understand the terminologies: source, sink. Now these are the very important thing. So this is, if this is a system, the heat is transferred from high temperature to the low temperature. So that is what is explained by heat engine. Okay, so these are the components: boiler, turbine, condenser, pump. So boiler, heat is added. C, the condenser, the heat is liberated to the sink. Then T is a turbine, work is done on the system. And pump, it is a compressor where it is done on the system. Now thermal efficiency, how we can find out the efficiency? Why we use a term called thermal efficiency? As it is dealing with temperature, okay, so we call as thermal efficiency. Now thermal efficiency is at net work done by total heat input. That means, what is the total heat input? This is the total heat input. Okay, this is a total heat input. And what is a net output? Net means the change in work done. That means a difference between the turbine work and the compressor. So this is called by net work output. So you can see the formula here: eta equals to WT minus WP by Q1. So WT minus WP, which is also equal to WQ1 minus Q2. As we will again use this, the change in energy, heat transfer is going to the same as change in work done. Okay, so Q1 minus Q2, and where Q1 is always greater than Q2, because this is a heat added and this one is heat liberated. So Q1 is always greater than Q2. Okay, then we have, so we can further rewrite this Q1 minus Q2 by Q2, and by simplifying we can write eta equals to 1 minus of Q2 by Q1. Now Q2 by Q1 we can also write in terms of temperature. Eta equals to 1 minus of T2 by T1. Okay, so that means the temperature when it is entering, and T2 is when it is liberating or releasing from the system. This is the heat engine. Now, what's the difference between heat engine and Carnot cycle? Carnot cycle says that it is a one type of heat engine which has the ability to give and thermal efficiency about 100%. Okay, that says that there will be no losses of energy. That means T2 is going to be T1. The amount of heat entered, the same amount of heat is going to liberate. So likewise we can able to get 100% of efficiency. Any question over here? Is it clear about heat engine? You can write yes in the chat box, so I will know. Fine. Please simultaneously write the formulas along with me. So now you see, we also can denote now what can be of heating source. Heating source or the heat engine can vary based on the certain applications. So if it is a diesel engine, steam turbine or gas turbine, gradually this the heating component, where the heat is added, that is Q1 and Q2, can vary. Now here the heating source, as I am writing as T1, you can also, some of the textbook it has written as TH, and here I am writing as T2. You can also mention as TL, that is low temperature. And see where it has been released: condenser, cooling tower, radiator. So even they can give you certain questions, and likewise that so and so parameters has been given, identify which among the component is going to liberate the energy or liberate has a capability to liberate the heat. Okay, so you should know. So these are the components which has add heat, they add heat, and this release heat. Okay, liberate heat. Next we will see how this thermal efficiency play a vital role in rate of heat transfer to or the rate of sink. Okay, so you can see that for both the parameters, okay, as we increase the thermal efficiency, the rate of heat transfer is gradually decreased. Okay, the rate of heat transfer is decreased because already it is brought to an equilibrium. So as we move further, if we look for the Carnot cycle, now if this is 1, for an example this is 1, that means it will touch over here. That means, what is mean by 1? Thermal efficiency means 100%. So for 100%, Q1 is going to as Q2. So both are same, right? Rate of heat transfer. So there won't be any heat transfer over here. Same for the heat sink per net work done. There won't be any difference, right? So that is the nature. So as we gradually increase the thermal efficiency, the rate of heat transfer to the heat sink is going to decrease. So there is one problem, very easy problem. Okay, now see, in a thermodynamic cycle consists of 4 processes. The heat and work are as follows. Now they have given the amount of heat liberated and added, and amount of work done, added and done by the system. Now from here you need to find out what is the thermal efficiency of the cycle. Now you know what is eta? Eta means net work done by input. So whatever the input means or added, the positive value. So from here you need to find what is a input value. So that means 30 and 5. So 35, you have whatever the unit. Now here we have net, means you have to total this. Okay, so 3 plus 10 minus 8 plus 0. So what will get? 13 minus 8. What is 13 minus 8? 5. 5 unit. So 5 by 35. Tell me which is the right option.
C, ma'am, option.
So you are getting 0.428, right? Something like 1428, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you will get 14.28%, so which is equivalent to option C. Very simple problem. But see, if you look at the options, if you sum up this entire thing, then your answer will go wrong. So remember, this is the net work done divided by the heat added alone, or heat input. Input means what? What are the heat added into the system or the process? Okay. So this is a tricks in this particular problem. Okay. So take a screenshot of this problem you are going to work and tell me the answer for it. Okay. Okay, and note down. Here we have work ratio. So we can also find out the work ratio how? That WT minus WC, that is the net work done by the turbine work. Using this we can find out the net, using this formula we can find out the work ratio. Or we can also write 1 minus of WC by WT. Note down the formula. This is the formula for work ratio. Thermal, you know that 1 minus of Q2 by Q1, or W net by Q1. Okay. So you're going to solve this problem too. Okay. Now we will move to the next few topics. Kelvin-Planck statement of second law. So you should remember these statements as it is. Okay. So it is impossible for a heat engine to produce net work done in a complete cycle if it exchange heat only with the bodies at a single fixed temperature. Okay. So basically it is defined. So what we have here, we have our high temperature, that is, let's consider it's a hot body. Okay. Here we have cold body. Okay. Now obviously if there are in thermal contact, right, thermal contact, So heat will transfer from hot body to cold body. It's a normal fact until it brings to an thermal equilibrium. Right? It will comes to the same. But what this says that what is a heat engine? Heat engine also does the same. It added some amount of heat and liberates some amount of heat, which is not equal. But what this Kelvin Planck statement says that it is impossible for a heat engine to produce net work done in a complete cycle. That means, as we considered there, that is Q net is equals to W net. We have considered there. So which is not actually possible for an single fixed body. If these are the fixed thing, it is not possible. That is the concept behind this Kelvin Planck's statement of second law of thermodynamics. Clear? Now let's see what Clausius statement says. Clausius statement says that it is impossible to construct a device or engine which operating in a cycle will produce no effect other than the transfer of heat. That means from moving from the cooler to the hotter body. That means they are using a device, so it is not possible to produce any other effect. So these are the definitions. Okay, so moving from cooler to hotter body. See, so what is happening over here? It's going to move from cooler to hotter body. That means if there is two body, right, let's me take this as a hot body and this is a cold body. So it is going to move from cold to hot. So that means definitely we need some device which will drive the temperature from cold to hot, because what is we know, normally it drives from hot to cold body to bring down the thermal. So they are telling it is impossible to construct any sort of machine or a device which can drive the cold to the hot body transfer without any other effect. So absolutely there will be some effect. Okay, so that is the concept behind this Clausius statement. And the statement what Kelvin says that it cannot be equal. Okay, this cannot be equal, it is not physically possible. Now we will see how this transformation has been done. So first we will see the heat engine and heat pump. Okay, this is A is the heat transfer. You can see A is the heat transfer. So as I have said, so definitely when their heat is transforming from high temperature to the low temperature. So what this Clausius says, when you have to move from low temperature to high temperature, there has to be some device which will drive from low to high. Right? This is a statement by the Clausius statement of second law. Now let's see what is heat engine. So heat engine says that, you can see the work. So heat engine we have already seen, always the heat is drive to the boiler, then this is a work reservoir where the turbine we have, then the then condenser, then the pump, likewise it follows. So condenser is a component where the heat is liberated. So that is heat is liberated, that is Q2. Heat added, Q1. Then next is heat pump. Now see the work of heat pump which follows, which gives a violation of Clausius law. Violation of Clausius law. What it does, it moving from low temperature, that is T2, and moving to the high temperature, that is T1, using a device. What is a device? Heat pump. Using a device called heat pump, it drives to move from low to high. Okay, now here to study this heat pump, to understand the effect, as he have said there won't be any effect. To understand the effect, we define by coefficient of performance. Okay, we define by coefficient of performance like COP. Okay, COP, coefficient of performance. What it says that it is a desired effect by work supplied, or we can say desired effect by work input. Okay, desired effect by work input. Now for this heat pump, what is a desire? What does this heat pump? It maintains the temperature, okay, above the atmospheric level. So you can easily understand it transfer heat from low temperature reservoir to the high temperature by using some kind of external device called heat pump. So basically heat pump, what is liberating? It is liberating some heating effect. So that desired effect is heating effect. That is what is liberating. It liberating this QH or Q1 by work input or work supplied. What is work supplied? This is a work supplied, that is W. W is nothing but the turbine minus compressor. Okay, so by WT minus WC, or I can also write like Q1 by WT minus WC. Now WT minus WC can also write as Q1 minus Q2 or QH minus QL. So I can further write the COP of heat pump, HP is heat pump, is Q1 by Q1 minus Q2. Similarly, again violating the Clausius statement, we have one more device called refrigerator. Okay, refrigerator. So refrigerator also does the same. What it does, it again transferring from, but here what is liberating to the outside here? It is liberating to the main purpose of refrigeration is to cool it down, right? Cool it down. That is a main effect. So what is a cooling effect? To find out the effect, that is coefficient of performance, desired effect, that is a cooling effect by the net work done, or we can say work input. So here the cooling, where is the cooling effect? Q2, or we can also denote the Q2 as QL and Q1 as QH. Okay, so work done WT minus WC, which can also be written as QL by QH minus QL, which is nothing but Q1 by Q2 by Q1 minus Q2. Also can be written as Q2 by QL by WT minus WC. So all the things are same for refrigerator. Now let me write in terms of R. So this is the effect, okay, by violating Clausius law. These are the violating Clausius law. So as the Clausius law says that there should be, it is impossible to construct a device which will transfer of moving from colder to the hotter body. right? So these are two example: heat pump which liberate heat, and refrigerator which liberate the cooling effect. Okay, liberate the cooling effect. Now there is a combination we can make between this heat pump as well as the refrigerator. There is a relation. Okay, this is a relation, that is COP of HP. HP means heat pump, and this is the refrigerator. Okay, this is an important formula, relation between the refrigeration and heat pump. COP is a coefficient of performance. Okay, coefficient of performance. So we can also write likewise. So Q, if it is Q1 by Q1 minus Q2 equals to, this is for heat pump, then Q2 by Q1 minus Q2 of R plus 1. So obviously this effect, heat pump effect, is going to be more as compared with the refrigeration. This is another significant point that you can bring to an conclusion. I hope simultaneously you are noting the formula. Now quickly we will solve one problem. Okay, our refrigeration plant for a food store operates as a reserved Carnot heat engine cycle. The store is to be maintained at temperature of minus 5 degrees Celsius, and the heat transfer from the store to the cycle is at the rate of 5 kilowatt. If the heat is transferred from the cycle to the atmosphere at a temperature of 25 degrees Celsius, calculate the power required to drive the plant. First, you yourself read the question, identify the problem, and then you start calculating. Now, first of all, you can see this is a refrigeration problem, right? Refrigeration means what? Whenever you see this important highlight, and you just draw this layout, how this actually plant working. This is a refrigeration. This is what the plant is. Okay, so here we'll have the low temperature, and here we'll have the high temperature. So here is a Q1 and this is Q2. Okay, now from the given question, identify what are the given data. So the store is to maintain at a low temperature. Okay, low temperature as minus 5 degrees Celsius. Okay, so minus 5 degrees Celsius means where it is maintained? It is T2 or T1? Unmute and say, this T2 or T1?
This T2, ma'am.
T2 has been given. T2 is minus 5 degrees Celsius. Now whenever in this kind of problem we have in Celsius, try to convert in terms of Kelvin. So to convert in Kelvin, 273 minus 5, you get around 268 Kelvin, right? So T2 is given as 268 Kelvin. Now heat transfer from the store to the cycle at a rate of, that means from here, heat transfer from the store where it is been stored, right? Store region is low temperature to the cycle. Okay, store to cycle, this is a cycle, refrigeration cycle. At what rate it is transferring? 5 kilowatt. That means Q2 is 5 kilowatt. If the heat transfer from the cycle to the atmosphere, now from the cycle to the atmosphere is what? High temperature. That's why only we need to store at the low temperature. What is atmospheric temperature? Is 25 degree Celsius. Again find out in the Kelvin. Plus 273, you get, okay, 298 Kelvin then. So you know what is T1, T2, Q2. From here you need to find out how much power is required to drive this plant. So in your given data, T1 is known 298 Kelvin, T2 is 268 Kelvin, Q2 is 5 kilowatt. You need to know what is the work done, W. So as this is a refrigeration plant, what are the formulas you know? You know COP of refrigeration. What is a COP? Desired effect of cooling by work done. Okay, net work done. So here desired effect is Q2 by, either you can write Q1 minus Q2, or you can also write T2 by T1 minus T2, or you can also write Q2 by W. Now what is the requirement to find out these values? W, power required. What is the power net? So use this equation. What is T2? 268 by 298 minus 268 equals to, what is Q2 is also known, is 5 kilowatt by W. So W equals to 5 into 298 minus 268 by 268. You will get the answer. Now please tell me, are you getting the answer or not? .55, right? 0.55, approximately 6. Okay, see the answer. Unit is very important, kilowatt, because here you have in terms of kilowatt, so you will get the answer in kilowatt only. Okay. This is another problem, and this is for your homework. Okay. Again, this is same as before. Read the question, identify the parameters, and then you have to solve. Now here I will give you some highlights. So in an ice maker plant, again you can understand what is meant by ice maker. So obviously it will be a refrigeration, right? Produce ice at a atmospheric pressure and some temperature is given, 0 degree from water. The mean temperature of the cooling temperature circulating through the condenser. Condenser means you know what it does, it liberates heat, and machine temperature is given. Evaluate the minimum electrical work required to produce 1 ton of ice. Now what do you mean by 1 ton of ice? 1 ton of ice means 1000 kg. Okay, and they have given enthalpy of fusion of ice at the temperature, at the atmospheric pressure when it is latent heat is given. So to find out your heat liberated, okay, heat liberated, so you can find out using the mass of ice into the latent heat, that is 1000 into 333.5. you will get your amount of heat liberated. This is a hint. So using this hint, you have to follow this. So you can easily identify what is the amount of heat liberated. So here they have given it's a 0 degree. The plant is stored in 0 degree. So you know what is T2. If this is T1, there is a cycle, and this is T2. T2 is 0 degree Celsius, and this is 18 degrees Celsius. Convert in terms of Kelvin. You can see how much amount of heat is liberating. So you can easily, same process, you can find out the work done. Okay, so this is a homework. You are going to just check whether you are going to get the same answer or not. That is very important. Check the answer in terms of kilowatt hour. We can wind up the class over here.